progress.
Yeah.
If like 6 months progress, maybe.
Yeah.
Hope we got everything set as the same shit.
Excellent.
Doesn't matter now, does it?
We are.
I
I appreciate it.
I don't know, that's in the range where I figured that truck would go, low around 5.
Is that what you're doing?
5 to 6 is what I was expecting.
Old enough, no.
Really had to do like to go back to work.
Goes to the general fund.
Say you're 14. I am 14.
Is it the same, are you in the course together?
Yeah, obviously it was come out of there at 5.
Hey, Frank.
All right, folks, it's 6 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order. Join Ed in saluting the flag. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
you. We're going to do a couple of, take public input first, and the meeting, any public input. Thank you, Ed. Go. Yep. Yep.
On behalf of the Brookfield Women's Society, I
Yep.
just wanted to mention that Saturday at 10 a.m. is our regular gathering. So all the women are in town are invited to just come casually, meet and visit. And also for the Brookfield Women's Society, I wanted to introduce Lauren Varney, who did our Love Your Brain program. Was that last year? And Lauren has offered to do a health and wellness program for us coming up. We'd like to start in September. We just wanted to bring it to your attention for a foundations class followed by a 7-week session of health and wellness things open to the public. But I'll let Lauren speak in more detail to it.
Should I stay right here? Or?
Sure.
Okay.
You're on camera, so.
Okay, great. So, thank you. So my name is Lauren Varney, and my husband and myself, and we have 2 kids at home. We moved to Brookfield a couple of years ago, and I am very passionate about health and wellness. I'm a non-practicing physician and a certified health and wellness coach. So I just want to tell you what lifestyle medicine is, because that's what I would love to bring forward to the women of our community and even open it up to really anyone that wants to come. So lifestyle medicine, and this is a definition from the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. It's actually a medical specialty. It uses therapeutic and evidence-based lifestyle interventions as a primary modality to treat chronic conditions, including, but not limited to, cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, obesity, and I want to add mental health struggles, struggles with energy, fatigue, and the list goes on and on. So my passion is to help people find their on-ramp to lifestyle medicine and just learn to walk it out step by step, day by day. There are 6 pillars to lifestyle medicine. One is healthy eating, another is exercise, the third is restorative sleep, the fourth is positive social connections, the 5th is minimizing risky substances, and the 7th is stress management. So it's a lot, but I would like to use this. It's a nutrition book that reads like a magazine. It's called Eat Right for Life. So we'll use this as the foundation for the nutrition component, and then we'll also just be diving into each of these lifestyle medicine strategies, with the goal being for each participant to just start taking steps, one step at a time, toward healing and wholeness. So that's my hope.
That's great. Open to the public,
Yes, it would be.
and is there a fee?
The fee would be $85 for the whole session, and that includes, I already have purchased the book, that includes the book. So, and I think I would love to have a minimum of 8 participants, just because at the end, we're going to be doing some group coaching so that we can help each other to take whatever steps it is that we're feeling led to take towards healing. So,
Okay. Any questions? Any other questions? And you're going to do it Thursday morning, and Karen, you're asking whether we're going to make the townhouse available for 8 weeks?
Yes, it would be
8 weeks
8
total.
weeks. It would be September 12th till October 31st on Thursday mornings in the yoga slot, 9:30 to 11:30.
9:30 to 11:30.
Yes.
Is there any issues with yoga? Is yoga?
It's on break right now. The instructors had some medical issues, so we might pick right back up after Lauren's
Okay.
session.
You okay with it? You okay with it? We're okay with it. Go
Great.
for it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I fill out the townhouse paperwork? Is there a charge for the townhouse?
You ask the tough questions, don't you?
Well, I just want to be prepared.
Yeah, we should. What do we charge you over?
$100 for the whole session, the whole 7-week session, 6 weeks.
$100 in 8 weeks, that's like.
Yeah. Yep, all right, yep, $100, yeah, $100 for 8 weeks.
Do you need the form, Karen?
I have it all filled out, thank you.
Thank you. Any other public input? Okay, we have some meeting minutes from July 16th that we have to approve.
I have read through the minutes, and I think they're acceptable, so I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as presented from July 16, 2024. Second motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Okay, now we're going to go to the agenda, and we're going to jump around a little bit. So let's do the town preserve cut next.
Good evening.
Hi.
I know you and you,
He's Tim Nolan, guys.
yes. I think from the last time, but anyway, I have all the paperwork following the meeting between Ed, Chris, and Frank. Frank, when we met out there, we went over everything. I've got basically all the paperwork that we need to do. In 2019, when we did the last harvest on the preserve, it's the same logging company that will be doing it again. Use the same contracts with all of the same terms in it, just updated dates, volumes, pricing, and that. I've got the wetlands permit in here and the intent to cut form. And as you know, with a municipal timber sale, the logging contractor is responsible for the timber tax. So I have a calculation of the timber tax bond that he's going to be responsible for, and the check from the logging contractor to go with it, for you to sign the intent tonight as well. I guess first of all, before we go any further, do you guys have any questions for me?
I'd like you to just kind of, as brief as you can, just go over the plan for
What we looked at when we were out there?
what we talked about, where the gravel areas are, where the landing areas are, you know.
So with the main goal of trying to get the Class 6 Old Governor's Road fixed up down to the hayfield and potentially just past the hayfield is the last of kind of the bad areas. The goal of this sale, which this side of the property was heavily cut off before the town of Brookfield acquired it. There's not a lot of wood. There is some recommended harvesting, but it's just you're cutting stuff that just doesn't generate a lot of income. A lot of low-grade pulpwood, low-grade logs, pulpwood chips, and that. Anyway, the income that will be generated should be sufficient to get the road addressed nicely the entire way down through there. There is going to be 2 landings that the logger is responsible for constructing. One of them is in probably 100 yards from Lyford Road on the left. There's an area where the first landing will be. And based on the way the ground looks, we're hopeful that we're going to be able to develop a bunch of usable, I'm not going to call it gravel, but decent usable fill to start shimming some of the low areas in the road, trying to bring the grade up, get rid of the water that's standing in the road and get it to the point where the road is crowned and will drain. We're trying to minimize the amount of processed aggregate that the town or we have to buy as part of this. I mean, there's obviously going to be there'll be some out by the entrance to Lyford Road, running up against the town road. You want to make sure that that's very well patched so that the trucks have a smooth transition onto the town road. And then on the hill, there'll need to be some processed gravel because it's going to need to be something that'll pack well enough to allow trucks to come up the hill without chucking and spinning. But if we can get decent material on site and move it into the road, shim everything up, that will greatly decrease the cost of what we're trying to do there. So anyway, in that first landing, just the way the ground lays, hopeful to get some decent usable fill out of that. And then as you go down the road, there's a few spots where we're going to dig some prospect holes on the town's land where we may be able to develop further fill near some of the areas where we need a substantial amount of fill in the road. Before we cut out the areas, they'll go down through with the excavator and dig some prospect holes to see what they've got there. And then once you get down on the property to where the town owns both sides of the road, there's an old log land in there. That will be expanded as you're going down on the left-hand side. That will be where the second log landing is. And there's a pretty good berm in the back that I hope, again, hopeful that we'll be able to get a fair bit of usable material out of. Because immediately past that landing area, there's a long section that's low and wet. There's a culvert that needs to be addressed in there, and that's going to require a fair bit of fill to get through that section where then you come up to where you turn into the hayfield. And then if everything's going well and we've still got some money from the income coming in, just past the hayfield, there's one last wet section in the road before you get out to the back where it's pretty good and dry the whole way. It would be nice, because this is kind of a one-time thing that we're doing, to get as much done into that road as you can, because down the line, if you can get it fixed up, the next time you go in there, which is going to be a while, the road will be in better shape. It makes sense that while you've got the income coming in, and as part of this project, to do everything you can right now. Get your culverts in order. We're going to have to install a few. Not a ton, but at least 2, maybe 3. One of them is being replaced, not installed. It's an old one. I guess that's the gist of it. We're going to do the recommended harvesting in the areas that are accessible to those landings, the recommendations from the plan that was done in like 20, I think I did it in 18.
Yeah. Is that up high or in the back behind the hayfield?
The harvesting?
Yeah.
Some of both. It's kind of running parallel with the road. The initial landing, the one that's up tight to the Lyford Road, would be the upper section of it, kind of, running down the hill and out behind the cemetery, heading over towards what we cut off of Cottle Hill Road when we did that section. The lower landing would be working down on the flat, closer to the hayfield, and potentially down that way. Both sides of the road.
And what are your plans for the borrow pits?
Filling them with the rocks and stumps and the debris that's going to come from the top, but not leaving them in open, not leaving them like as open pits. They need to be sloped in. Ideally, fill them with, because I have a feeling there's going to be plenty of rock that's coming out of it too. We're hoping that in amongst the rock is usable material. So, I mean, you're going to be digging the hole up, let's say like when you build the landing, you've got all of the topsoil and stumps and rocks and the stuff that you're going to have out of the way for making it. It's a good spot to put all of that. And then slope it in, pat it back down.
And the landings, how are you going to leave those?
They're clean. The landing that we used last time, I believe, is now a parking lot.
Yes, it is.
They'll be left in the same condition as that one was, as clean as that one. If you want them seeded, that's something I can do afterwards. Obviously, you have material cost for that. We didn't seed the landing that on Cottle Hill Road, but it'll be that clean.
Okay.
Just one other thing too is that on the very steepest part of the hill, you talked about putting.
Yes. We're going to address the drainage issues in the Old Town Road in terms of getting the water kicked off of the road as it runs down the hill. Right now, it's just carrying down the length of it. When they're running tractor-trailer trucks up and down that hill, obviously you can't have much of a water bar in it, but as the job is done, part of the closeout is going to be a address getting some drivable water bars in that hill and getting outlets so that they can be maintained going forward, so that the water has somewhere that with keeping the water bar shaped upright will continue to go off of the road rather than run down it. That's going to be important because we're going to put all this work into the road, and if you don't keep it maintained, the water issues, it'll just end up back the
Wash
way it
it out
is.
again, right?
The purpose, and you stated it, was to make the Class 6 road passable to the logging, to the field. If we're running, and you mentioned something beyond that on Old Governor's Road, another wet spot, I'm not sure we want to deal with that if it's going to be an issue with running out of money. In other words, our goal was to get to that hayfield.
Absolutely, and I would say that it would be an afterthought. It would be the main goal would be, as you said, get to the hayfield. If the timber income that's coming in is exceeding the road costs, then I think that it would make sense to do this one other small spot. It's not a huge area, but once you get through that, your access is good all the way to the back of the lot. That's the last area that needs to be fixed up. You know, obviously, it's less of a priority, but I think that it would be in the town's best interest while they're doing this, if you had plenty of income to cover it, to do that section as well. I mean, but that's up to you.
Is that something that you would consider like an option one almost, and you would bring it back to us and say, do we want to exercise this option?
Well, here's the thing, I mean, it's gonna need to be decided while the sale's going on, and
Right.
they're doing it. So, I mean, I'm not going to say that I would come to a meeting, but we will have a running tally of what the road construction costs are, as well as based on the truck slips, and as the timber income starts coming in, we'll have a very good idea of where you're at. So I would certainly give the town that option before I had the logging contractor do that work.
Because we could, if we had to, we'd post and call a special meeting specifically for that, right?
Okay.
Let's see. I think that's it.
I think I understand your proposal.
Okay. So we have 3 copies of the contract with the L.E. Taylor and Sons. Oh, and following the execution of these contracts and the work agreement with me, insurance certificates will come from the logging contractor and from my insurance company with the town of Brookfield listed on them. So, same exact timber sale contract format as we used last time, just changed, you know, the dates, the volumes, the pricing on it. I mean, yeah. Obviously, all of these prices reflect the fact that the timber tax at 10% has been backed out of these values. So that's why they're oddball numbers, not, you know, nice even numbers, but, so 3 copies of that, one for the town, one for the logger, one for me. If there's on the back page of this.
We're going to look at it. We're not going to, I don't think we'll sign it tonight, so.
Okay, well, that's fine then. All right, so 3 copies of that.
Yep.
2 copies of the work agreement between the town of Brookfield and my company.
Yep.
Same terms as last time, except I no longer charge a marking fee, but same percentage, same everything.
What's the name of your company?
Forest Land Improvement, Philosophy. All right, this is the intent to cut form. I would like this signed tonight, just because it has to be signed at meeting, you won't have another one. So this is, hold on, I gotta go back out to the truck. I brought in the copy that's not signed by the logger, so I will be right back with that, but I'll come back in with the intent to cut. And this is the breakdown of the timber tax, how the bond is calculated, and the check for the timber tax bond. And then the other thing that I would like you to sign tonight is the wetlands notification form that we send to the state that just says these are where we're going to be putting in wetlands crossings, culverts, that sort of stuff. I send them a $25 check, it's all there. So if I could get, and it only needs to be one person from the town to sign permit. This is your copy of the wetlands permit. I will run out to the truck real quick and come back in with the intent to cut that is signed by the logger instead of this blank one.
Okay, good, thank you.
I'll be right back.
Yep.
Oh,
I'll talk to them while you're going. You already know what I'm about to say.
Yes, Frank.
We've coordinated, the Conservation Commission and Selectmen Ed, we've coordinated with the Heritage Commission to let them know that this logging is going to go on. And we're going to take steps to protect the foundation areas that were found this summer. And they're actually kind of excited because they're going to ask the logger to take some of the big trees out of the middle of the old foundation of the house foundation, reach in, not hurt the foundation, but reach in and cut those trees. There's two or three big trees in there. And they're actually excited about that because that'll then open up that area so the public can see the foundations better. So, but we're going to put the Heritage Foundation. Ed, did you get a chance to go with Mr. Savasic this week yet?
Yes. Yes.
And you guys discussed some the steps
Yeah,
you're
we're
going to
going to
take.
stake out.
So that's being handled as well. So just FYI.
Okay, any other input on the cut? The big issue, I think, the big issue is, this is our shot to get the road fixed. Are we going to leave it open for all traffic, or are we going to block it?
I actually did some homework on this. The Conservation Commission has already voted to spend money to put a gate on town property, not on Old Governor's Road, but on the road to the hayfield, to protect the hayfield. And we're going to discuss that again at our meeting tomorrow night. And we talked about putting a gate at the mouth of Old Governor's Road, at the Lyford Road entrance. However, there is an RSA, which I did my homework and was ready for this tonight. There is an RSA, wrong app. There's an RSA, it's 231:21A. that states that all Class 6 highways are considered subject to gates and bars. So we could put a gate up with bars at that place. However, it must not interfere with the public's use of the highway. Therefore, they must be able to open and close the gate and remove the bar. In other words, you can't lock the gate.
Okay.
So, but we could, and we're going to, the conservation is going to discuss tomorrow. You guys can say, we could put a gate there, but it's going to have to be openable by the public to comply with this RSA.
I don't agree with that. It says you have to let the public in. It doesn't say they have to drive in. Very clear in the RSA. Access, you can walk in, but nowhere in the RSA does it says vehicles have to be permitted.
Well, I think that's great. But I think maybe some clarification from the town lawyer might
We
be
got it. We got it.
Before we do that, we're going to discuss it at our conservation meeting tomorrow, and then make a recommendation to you guys of how we feel about it. We would like a gate there. If we can put a gate there, we'd like a gate there to just allow walking access to the property. There's the issue of hunters in the fall who've always used the property. So that's really an issue for you guys to decide. But I think the conservation will find out tomorrow night. I think we still want to put the gate with a bar, with a lock to protect the hayfield, because that's a valuable asset at that place. There's nothing wrong with putting 2 gates up, other than cost.
Yes, Rick.
I would respectfully check again with the lawyer, because I just went to a class on this, and a lawyer for the state, they put out the magazine, the municipal magazine we get. He was very clear about that, and you cannot lock it.
Okay.
that is
Yeah.
my understanding as well.
What's your understanding?
That you cannot lock the gate on a Class 6 road because it is a public right-of-way.
And I was told that's correct, but that doesn't say anything about vehicular traffic. People have a right to walk on that road, but nowhere in the RSA does it say anything about allowing vehicles in.
Right?
That's the other side of that RSA.
I suppose, yeah, all right. In all the dealings with towns I do, that's always been my understanding, is that you have to allow it, but maybe that's wrong.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've got everything here for you. You signed the wetlands? Okay. So your copy of the wetlands is here. The intent to cut with the calculation of the timber tax bond and the timber tax check is there. And then the 2 copies of the work agreement with me and the 3 copies of the contract. And I put at the top of each one of those whose it is. So there is all of that stuff. I will pop this in the mail off to the state. And I believe that is it. Okay.
Thank you.
Probably, if I had to guess, week after next would be when they'd be looking to get going down there.
How long duration you cut?
I would love to think 3 weeks, month on the outside. Depends how many giant rainstorms we get, like we've been getting for the last week. But yeah, I mean, it's not gonna be a huge, great big long thing. I'd like to get in and out of there well before it gets wet in the fall.
Thank you.
All right.
One more quick question, and that is, could you describe, Tim, how this cut will help the habitat for animals? It opens up, it's gonna open up areas, right, it's gonna take out junk trees.
Yep.
It's gonna, you called it a forest stand improvement cut.
Well, it's just an improvement harvest. There will be, I mean, as part of this, you're going to be, you know, where you're cutting, you're going to be developing another age class of young growth on the property, which after the last heavy harvest, obviously a lot of young growth occurred, that provides important habitat to a certain...
For browse and...
For all sorts of things, nesting bird habitat, but that ages out over time. So you're restarting succession in some spots, getting another age class in there. We're going to be working around a lot of the better quality oak, opening that up and encouraging its growth, so that's good for mass production. We're encouraging hemlock regeneration, which is good for winter habitat for a bunch of different things.
Great.
So yeah, there'll be a lot of wildlife habitat that's improved or created through this.
Great, thank you.
Yes.
And part of your intent is to take down dead trees as well?
No, I typically, unless they are in the way, dead trees they're great. I mean, in terms of carbon sequestration, in terms of critters liking them, eventually they fall down. You know, I mean, woodpeckers make nests or make holes, and then birds use them as nests. Eventually they fall down. Of course, woody debris on the forest floor is a good thing. So,
Yes.
I mean, I cut standing dead trees if they're in the way, but ideally leave them, unless they're a safety hazard.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right.
And we'll get right on these, we'll get them later.
All right. Give a holler when they're done, and I'll swing in and pick them up at some point.
Okay, thank you.
All right?
Yep.
Anything else? Okay. Have a good evening, all.
Thanks for coming down.
Yep.
Okay, what do we got going here? All right, good. Let's start from the top then. Wet floor signs. There's been a request because of wet floors in the front foyer and in the bathroom to get wet floor signs. And it's my feeling that doesn't solve the problem. If the floor is getting wet, why is it getting wet? Putting a sign up doesn't stop it from getting wet. What do we have to do to keep it from getting wet? And one suggestion would be extend the runner so there isn't any bare slate or tile out there, and get a rug for the bathroom. Something that's disposable. That's my take on it. If we got an issue, let's try to fix it.
I think that's a good issue, a good compromise. And I think it will solve the problem of floor slips, potential floor slips. I don't think it's a bad idea.
Okay. I mean, so could you get some ideas on extending that runner and some sort of rug for the men's room or for the bathroom? It might have to be disposable because
By disposable, you're talking cheap, good for a couple of years. And
I've nosed around a little bit, and you can buy packages of rugs that that are very inexpensive. You use for 6 weeks, 2 months, and then you just throw it away, put another one in.
Oh,
But I'm not sure it's gonna work there, but
Can you send me the link to that?
it's on Amazon.
Oh, well.
And then where else do you go to get ideas, right? All right, so we're gonna look at getting some extensions on those runners. Generator, here we go, the generator. We went out for proposals on replacing that generator. And the proposal period was open for a fair amount of time, and we have one proposal. And it's from, well, it doesn't matter who it's from. Replace the existing one with 22 kilowatts, exactly what we have today. Option 2, go to 24 kilowatts, and a 200 ampere service lets you grow a little bit. Option 3, repair the existing one. The existing one, there's a strong odor of propane coming from it. The gas company has come and investigated the plumbing. The plumbing's fine. We had this same problem maybe 2 years ago, and the carburetor gets messed up, and the carburetor isn't shut down, so the gas comes out the carburetor. And that cost us some hundreds of dollars to fix. And I don't know if that's the cause this time, but seems to be similar. So that is another option. And the fourth option is a 14 kilowatt. So the prices run from $9,200 to $9,600 for a new generator. To repair the one is an estimate only of $600. Generator's 20 years old.
I say replace the generator in the 2,400 kilowatts. So that's like $9,700.
Yes, that's the one that's 97.
I've got a couple issues with that. One is that we don't have it budgeted for this year. So we're going to have to take that money from somewhere to buy it. Maybe it's available in some fund, but we've got to take some money out somewhere to do that. Second thing is, we don't know, we do know that we want to expand this to some extent. We don't know what the electrical load will be when we expand it, all right? So we're kind of guessing at what size we want to put in there. Maybe right, maybe wrong, maybe too high, maybe too low. We don't really know. So it's a little bit of a crapshoot. And if you go high, you're in a better space to be high than you are to be low as far as load capacity goes. And the last thing is, for the 645 that he's got in here, it would be something more than that because he's saying it doesn't include the gas. It would, to me, that would be something that can get us through maybe only a couple more years, but $600 versus $9,600 is a big jump. And to find 645 again, it wasn't budgeted, but to find 645 is a lot easier than to find 9,600. And then in a couple of years, we'll know what the loads are going to be based on engineering design, and we can roll into the expansion of the new generator at that time and present it to the town for town meeting approval. So that's my recommendation, is that we go with the referred to as option 3? Yeah, option 3, repair.
Repair.
Yeah.
My history on it is we've been down this road before trying to repair this one. It's 20 years old. I say, what would I do if it was in my house? After 20 years, I just wouldn't put any more money in it. I would replace it with a generator. The question is 24, 22, and once you make that decision, the 24 is only $300-400 more, was it? $400 more to go for the big one. So I'd go with replacing it with a 24.
And, you know, there's a trust account, right?
There is a trust account for townhouse maintenance, I believe. I don't. I don't think we're to that point on the budget yet,
But
but I
no,
think
but-
it's there.
Yeah, so,
Townhouse maintenance, 45,000.
There's a town building and grounds maintenance of 37,754. There's a townhouse repair, 45.
That's the townhouse.
Yeah. And then there's town building office equipment. It's 33,000. I guess that's it.
so we have options.
Mhm.
I posted with Filson Motion option 2. It was a 2,400 kilowatts and approximately cost $9,682.50.
And that's a firm quote, it says.
I got before we go any further, another question on I just realized this. In this proposal, it defines the options, what they are, and then it talks about the cost. And at the end of it, it says exclusion is gas work. So does that mean the exclusion is for the gas work on all 4 options? So in other words, he's got to have a gas guy come in and hook the gas up and plumb it up. So it's going to be 96, 82 plus whatever.
Plus 150 for a call.
Is that what it is? I don't
Well, the
know.
plumbing's there.
Yeah, right. It's going to be hooked up. There might be a few little bit of extensions or whatever to make it match up, but certainly not thousands of dollars. No, that answers the question for me.
So you made a motion?
Good.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
No.
Okay.
Point of information, who is the provider?
Dane Electric LLC.
Okay, thank you.
You will call him?
Pardon?
Will you call Aaron?
Yes, I will get a hold of Dame and let him know that we're going to go with option 2.
24 kilowatts.
That's correct.
Forestry truck.
Oh, good news there.
Or what?
The bids came in, the auction is closed as of 10:25 this morning, and the winning bid was $8,500
Oh, wow.
for the truck and the back end of it, the whole package deal. So I think, in my opinion, it was a very successful bid, and I thank Brad for helping me put it together, getting it out there. He's got the technical knowledge on what to put in it. But I'll make a motion that we accept that bid. And this municipal organization seems to be very reputable. I've talked to the high bidder. There's a gentleman out of Lisbon, Maine, who works with salvaged type medium to heavy equipment. He says he's got a bank check ready to go. All we need to do is tell him, and he'll come pick it up, take it away. So I'll make a motion that we accept the bid from Stephen McLean. I can't remember the exact name of his company. Stephen McLean is the gentleman's name, and I make a motion we accept his bid and authorize the sale.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good.
All right, I'll
And
contact him tomorrow and let him know.
And so that will from the generator.
And thank you for pointing that out to us. Chris, you said we go to
Municipal bid.
Municipal bid.
It did the work.
Yeah.
Just think of municipal bid.
Well, that worked out really well. I mean, to be honest with you, I was shocked.
So,
Yeah, it went pretty good, I would say.
yeah. I was following along, there were like 29 different bids over a 2-week period.
So we have the titles. whenever they need the title signed.
And am I authorized as a selectman to sign that title?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, okay, and you have the title?
You might need it notarized. I don't know how to do titles.
Doesn't need to be notarized.
We just have to sign it without putting a name on
Not
it.
in New Hampshire, I don't know about Maine, but.
Okay.
You might want to do a bill of sale with, there's a state form for a bill of sale. So it indicates that he's a selectman.
Did you hear that,
A bill of
Ed?
Yeah, I'm gonna have a state form.
I have a form I can get you.
You do? All right.
Is that what, Craig, is that what you said?
Yeah, just to be safe,
Yep.
because I could sign it, and who says I'm a selectman or anything?
Okay.
Anybody could sign it.
Okay, I'll get the form from Karen, we'll get it filled out.
The problem isn't in New Hampshire, it's when you take it to another, out of state, that you can run into problems.
Good. Thank you, Ed, for doing that, by the way, getting it all done. Bullshit, yeah. It's gone, huh?
Yeah, I don't know if
It's down.
anybody noticed the pile of rubble out back there, it's down.
It's down.
He'll be packing it all up and taking it away, so, another good job will be completed very shortly.
And I want to pause there. Karen, did you have anything for us? I know you had a busy day. I'm sorry. I should have asked you to go earlier.
Oh, no, you're fine. I briefly wanted to mention an update on the dogs. There's only one dog left outstanding. Everyone is settled on their dogs. So the next step will be, I'm going to go back at and look back at prior years and see if there's anybody I might have missed through the years that still has dogs. And I just wanted to update everyone, just to kind of clarify, Wakefield is covering the DMV transactions this week while Rose and I are in school. But the money for Brookfield will come back to Brookfield at the end of the week. It usually takes a couple of weeks, but they are collecting our Brookfield money, and it will come back to Brookfield. The only thing that Wakefield keeps, they submit the state fees, and they'll only keep like the small municipal agent fees. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
That's correct.
Back on the old salt shed, how is that going to be finished when it's done? Is it going to be a clear gravel parking lot that
It's
will
gonna
blend
be,
in with everything else?
he's not gonna bring any fill in, it'll be blended into what's already there. And it'll be level and smooth.
We're gonna pave it.
And where are we going to?
Oh, let's pay it. And we won't be parking all the oil rusty trucks on it either.
The question we have to watch is there's a concrete floor where the fire truck was, right?
No, there isn't. The only concrete that was there was at the very drip edge
Okay.
underneath the doors.
Then that's gonna go.
And that's gonna go. That was included as part of the tear down.
Maybe that's why that truck
I was-
roasted it.
I was surprised, too, and I went actually finally got inside too, well, there's no concrete in it.
Good. Okay, so Karen's gone, right? Missed that one. L-hop, I don't know what L-hop is.
That's the hazard plan you're supposed to be working on.
Hazard mitigation plan?
Yes, I couldn't remember the local hazard operating
That's a
procedures.
local emergency operations plan. LEO.
Yes, that one.
Okay.
Sorry.
Before I get to that, the local hazard mitigation plan, the LHMP, has been approved by the feds, by FEMA. So that's all in place now for Wakefield and Brookfield. We'll be getting a copy of it momentarily. I may have just received an electronic copy, I'm not sure. I'll check and see. But we'll get electronic copies of it as well as a hard copy. And so that's all set for the next 5 years. And I am now working on the local emergency operation plan, the LEOP, and see if we're going to do that as a joint venture with Wakefield, or if we could do it as two separate plans.
Yeah, you were going to talk to them about that.
Right.
And they say,
Haven't gotten that deep in discussions with them yet. It's a work in progress.
okay. Septic pumping, what did you find out about it?
Lake Reason said you should pump every 3 years. and it was about 5 years ago. So they said, yes, you should pump it. And
What do you do if you don't like the answer?
I'm just saying, so maybe we should pump it this fall. It's gonna be around $300.
Well, I guess,
I'm sorry.
if it was my house, it's not my house.
Yeah.
So I guess what we'll do is we'll pump it.
Yep.
If we can be here, if one of us can be here when they pump it, to get an assessment of how bad this is after
Yeah.
5 years
Right.
of intense use.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I think my biggest concern, and I'll go along with pumping because I don't think there's any way that the usage would drive us to pump that out. However, to protect the field, I think we need to really take a look at what kind of root growth are we seeing? Is there anything growing into it?
Well, they don't do that.
No, they're not gonna put scopes down, but there will be things that you can look for that
So
they might.
we have the leach field mowed,
Correct.
to try to control the ropes,
Right.
the roots.
Right. So it's a good idea.
Where do you want to take that?
Just a good idea to take the covers off and take a look.
Okay.
All right, so I'll call it, and they're scheduled out to late August or September, so.
If they would just give us a shout, and they're going to do it, I appreciate it.
Okay.
Rich. There was 3 years ago that I winterized a distribution box over there in the leach field. And that's when we pulled out that great mass of roots and brought them in to say, look at the prize, guys. I don't know if you remember that.
Vaguely.
I thought you would have remembered those roots, Rich.
So talk about, you opened up the distribution box?
Yeah, and it was full of the roots. So that's maybe the one thing you want to check this time again, is to unearth the D box and be sure that it's not plugged up with roots. It's just dig down and move the foam insulation off the top, move the cover off.
That's part of the normal pumping, isn't it?
No,
Oh, it's not?
no.
I thought it was.
Pumping is just the tank itself.
Big pump.
Okay. I thought they were doing the distribution box.
There's like root killer, right? Because we had root killer, right?
Right. The problem with that is where this is a pump system and it gets such extensive use that you put the root killer in the septic tank,
Yeah.
in the pump chamber of the septic tank. The pump doesn't pump it out until the chamber is full, which is a couple hundred gallons.
Mhm.
So the root killer may sit in there for a period of time before it ever gets pumped out into the leach field.
I mean, we just do it in, I don't know.
I wonder where the roots are coming from. I mean, it's supposed to be a sealed system, right?
It's a sealed system, but the roots just migrating from everywhere, Rich.
And they will wrap it around a pipe. And if it's pipe and stone, or is it fabric? Either way, the roots can migrate through that.
I think it's probably a virus system. Probably a virus system where it has the 2 vent stacks on it. So just something to keep in mind, make sure to put the root tone in on a regular, on a routine basis.
Yeah.
Because once the roots do get in there, it means a new leach field.
Okay.
I'll get it scheduled.
You got any call?
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, let's do the various boards and committees. I'll start with Craig, you have anything?
No.
Okay, Pam, you're next.
Yes, Heritage Commission, so we have posted the request for proposal to clean, repair, and paint the front of the townhouse, reshingle the bell tower, and wash the front of this building. I have met with one painter, and they have a roofer who's going to be around to look at, to quote, and also a carpenter. And I'm reaching out to 3 more, so hopefully we get at least 3 to 4 quotes. There are 2 wasp nests where the roof line meets the bell tower on the far side. They're about the size of a fist. I did get a quote, it's $295 from one pest control company to take those down. The painter said they would not be responsible for, did not want to take those nests down. But Brian told me that he would look at them and do his magic and take care of that.
And I talked to Steve
Daily.
Bailey,
Yeah.
there's a prairie on Bailey, you gotta be careful. He's got a 24-foot ladder, so I agree, we can knock that sucker down. It's just a little wasp.
Yeah, it's all right.
The last week, I won't say it. Yep, so we can deal with that.
All right.
Matter of
Okay,
fact, by the time they paint it, it might even be frozen.
Oh, well, I'm hoping it's September, October, when the weather's good. There's also a third one on this side of the bell tower, just very small, but just so if you're gonna bring a ladder, or he's gonna bring a ladder in, take care of that. And then on August 17th, Saturday, August 17th, Rich is doing a talk on beekeeping, 10 a.m. in the townhouse.
With respect to the proposal for painting, there's some damage to some of the trim work.
Yes.
Was that going to be dealt with, or?
Yes, at the same time, which is why for all of the contractors who are interested, I'm meeting with them outside. We're looking up. You can see the two arched windows in the bell tower. The trim at the bottom on the left-hand side is rotted. That entire piece is probably going to have to come out and be replaced, which is why this first contractor, painter, is talking to both, works with a roofer and a carpenter. So I have asked for all of that to be broken out separately so we can see what that is.
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's it.
Brad,
Well, I
you
think there, wait, Brian, is there one more thing on Heritage accepting?
Yeah,
a check?
that's, yeah.
Okay, got it.
Brad, you have anything?
All set?
Okay, Chris?
Yeah, the Tucker Road Bridge is redecked and put back together and open again.
Looks excellent. Looks very good. Thank you for doing it. Well done.
The other thing is we're almost done with the shoulder gravel, and last year we paid to have it done. And this year I kind of took a chance and we did it ourselves. And it looks like it's going to cost about half of what it did last year in terms of by the foot or however you want to gauge it. So I was kind of surprised by that and happy.
I think we paid $32,000 for that last year.
37, I think.
30 in the 30s.
Including the gravel, and not quite done yet, but probably will be around 16,000, 17,000 altogether, I think. So.
And there's more miles this year than last year too.
It's about it's within 1,000 feet.
Oh, really?
It was, I think last year was 22, this year is about 21, and that's 1,000 feet of shoulder. So that'll get done here hopefully this week, and be on to something else.
Well, the loggers are still nipping at some trees. Did you ever have a chance to hook up with them on Carney Road issues?
No, I didn't get anything back from them. It's not a done deal, but I asked a couple of times and didn't get anything back. So I can try one more time. I want to talk to them a little bit more anyway about what they're doing with some of the trees they haven't cut yet. So.
Good. Okay, thank you. I don't want to skip you. You're public, right?
Nothing.
Joey, you have anything for us? And Leah?
I got a couple things.
Okay.
We have secured our .gov domain name.
Yes.
Yay.
I'm working with John Rich to figure out who's going to do our DNS hosting, which I will hope to present at the next meeting for you to decide who you want to do it. And it's about time for another newsletter, but with the price of postage going up and whatnot, I was thinking if it's all right with you guys, I'll do an online only with just a couple print editions here for whoever wants to grab them for probably September.
That should be good.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. That's it.
Okay, would you give this to Leah? We are going to review in September our gathering all the fees from the various departments, and that was what that was. We have to have a public hearing to go over the new fee structure. And we're going to be doing that early in September. We have some gifts. There's 2 that we have to accept. The third one, these from the Kingswood Public Association. They had a meeting next door earlier in July, and we don't charge them for using the hall, but we've got a $300 worth of gift donations. The first one goes to the trustees of the trust funds for the scholarship fund. And that is no longer, the town no longer participates in that, because the town cannot give money to individuals unless it's for general assistance. So a few years ago, we were notified that we were breaking the law by making donations to scholars when they don't need, when it wasn't general assistance. So that one's going to go into their,
Already has, given to the trustees.
and it's independent of the town. The other 2 we have to accept, and it's for the Heritage Commission and the Conservation Commission, donation of $100 for each organization. So I'll make a motion that we accept these donations.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's what's behind that. Okay, we had some discussion. About people coming in to pick up documents. Driveway permit, building permit, other types of documentation. And we don't have a place for it. You know, sometimes it's here, sometimes it's there, sometimes it's who knows where. So the question was, how do we want to deal with that? Do we want to put a mailbox outside on the front someplace? People can come in and pick up their permits.
Oh, you mean ones that have been approved, you mean, they come in and pick them up?
Yeah, I mean, you know, how many people come in and where's my permit? We don't know where it is. So the thoughts were, do we want to put something either inside or outside just to hold these permits that are to be picked up by public?
I would say put it on the inside, but like whatever, but yeah, but like outside it's, it could be like stealing or whatever,
That thought was going through my mind as well, too. And then counter to that, I'm thinking to myself, if we put it inside, how does that make it any easier really, because they still gotta get in the door. And how many hours a week is it open in the 9 to 5 window, 40-hour window? Pretty much every day, I think. Right? There's somebody in here? No? I know Leah's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Karen was saying you're as needed, right?
When I need to come up, but it's not staffed all the time,
So that makes it, that's kind of like the counter argument.
Yeah, I know.
And it doesn't really make it any easier for the average citizen to come in and pick up his permit.
Nick used to put them inside the kiosk with the name on it, right?
Yeah.
They're only valuable to the person, there's no money, there's only valuable to the person
No.
that needs the permit.
Yeah.
The money's been processed.
So this wouldn't be locking either, right?
Nope.
You can't lock it. It's
Just a place to put.
just a latch that's waterproof, probably somewhere under the foyer out front.
Chris?
Can I make a suggestion? If you're gonna change the fee structure on some of these things anyway, how about you make these permits available electronically, so like when you fill out, in my case, the driveway permit, leave a space on there for an email address and a physical address, so when the permit has been processed, they can get an electronic version of it and then put the copy of it in the mail and just mail it to them. Because that eliminates having to deal with anything more than just what you're already doing. You're already making copies, scanning it into your system. So on these permit applications, just make sure there's a place to put an email address, some sort of electronic communication address, and a physical address. If the fees are most likely going to change anyway, make sure that covers the postage, or whatever, copy cost, whatever.
I'm good with that.
I just,
I think it's a good idea. What about building permits that are on green paper? Is that get any significance, or is that just the way we do it?
Well, that, again, if you had an electronic copy that could be used temporarily until the card
Yeah.
came in the mail,
Yep, that's good, good answer.
I think that would solve almost all of the problems.
Yeah,
I think it's a good idea.
all right.
I'm okay with that. So we'll talk to Leah when she comes back about adding telephone numbers, contact numbers, email,
Yeah,
and mailing address.
yeah. I know the
Make
driveway.
sure they all understand that that's the way the process is gonna work.
Yeah, well, that's true with any of these permits. We really have to streamline the process in processing them. And, have a final outcome. So it should be part of the application, like the driveway permit application is pretty crude. Some other towns, they're as much as 30 pages long, which I don't agree with either, but, there's very, very minimal information on that application, so along with the fee structures, maybe some of these things need to be updated a little bit.
Well, we're looking, if you have some input for us on the driveway permit, you got it.
Oh,
Thank you. All right, so Lloyd, what we're gonna do is we're gonna update the forms. Yes, for email address, mailing address, phone numbers, and we're gonna email them.
Once the document's approved, we scan it and electronically send it to them.
Yeah.
And follow that up with a snail mail, official copy to the applicant.
See how that works.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris. Good idea.
And what else on this? Okay. We have, from the Joint Loss Management Team, which is, we used to call them the safety meetings when we were working. We're required to submit a sheet to the state indicating what we've done in that committee. We haven't done this very often, but we're ready to do it now. So we have the State of New Hampshire Safety Summary Sheet outlining what the Joint Loss Management Committee has worked on.
The only question I had there was the number of employees. Are the sure it's 14?
That's always a question.
I'm not sure of that.
That has been a question for 10 years.
Well, in light of what we got last month, I think, Brian, you dug that up on what is an employee versus what was the other term? If you're elected, you're not an employee.
Contractor,
No.
elected official.
Yeah, you're an official. You're either an employee or an official of the town. This is talking employees, right?
Right.
Yeah, these are employees. These are hourly people,
Right.
not elected.
Great. So do we have 14 already?
Probably not.
It sounds kind of.
More like 7, I think. Would have to, then there's some that,
Well, what about Sue? She is
she's in
employee.
her position as checklist, she's elected. If she's in her position as assessing clerk,
So she
she's
would be considered
an
a
employee.
little
yeah.
Bob. He's not elected either, right?
Bob is not elected.
I swear once we listed them all out and counted them, there was 14.
Kristen.
Craig.
Yeah.
Kristen and Craig. Yeah, we did list them out, didn't we? Even like Diana now is an employee.
Right. I think that's it.
Kate is an employee.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll go over the list.
We can double check that.
We have to change the number.
We'll
Yeah,
check.
that would be the only thing. Other than that, I think it all looks good.
No. Getting ready for this, on the Joint Loss Management,
Appointed, elected.
Yeah.
I think.
on the Joint Lab management website,
Yeah.
there is a policy document, 34, 35-page policy
Not
document.
anymore, there isn't.
There isn't.
No, I took it down.
Thank you. We have to review that.
Yes, we do.
That is pretty old. And there's policies in there that I don't even, they're very old. I don't even remember some of the policies. So you have to print that out or email it to us, we'll scrub that. We can put something new up there. Okay, I think that's the list of everything you prepared for us, Leah. Let's see what the agenda says. We have to pay some bills. Okay, yes, Greg?
Oh, okay.
On
That's the list of
the
leads.
discussion about the forms, it would be really helpful, I think, for the future, any forms that have to do with town business should have map and lot up top, where it's easily identifiable.
I agree with you.
Because that's how all business regarding properties should be done, is with map and lot. I mean, you can have the names of the owners and the addresses, but it's totally meaningless. I mean, if you look at the road closures from as recently as the 70s and the 80s, they refer to the Swift Farm, not Swift Farm, what's the one across from you? Sweat Farm. You know, it's meaningless 20 years from now, and that's an official document, the closure of that road.
I agree. We should note that. We need map and lot. Names change, map and lot doesn't.
I mean, they're on the building permits, but they're hidden away in the narrative, and you spend a minute, 2 minutes trying to find it, which is a waste of time from my perspective.
I agree. We have some bills?
Yeah. I should point out that I have created a new account in the New Hampshire deposit investment pool for the conservation and for heritage. I put all of Heritage's fund, I think it's 9,000 something, that is in there. And I've moved 5,000. I left a little bit in profile for, I left the heritage checking and a little bit in conservation, but the rest has been moved to the investment pool. So it should earn some interest for them anyway. All right, Amazon, 100, oh, sorry, and I'm doing it all by myself. Amazon, $111.10 for some supplies. Charter Communication, $94.98. Consolidated Communications, $138. Eastern Materials, we have got 4 25-yard loads of 3/4-inch gravel for $2,400 and 2 25-yard loads of sand for $800. Eversource, I have one for $21.90 and one for $162.73. Gov Connection, $236.74. Governor Wentworth Regional School District, it is $239,119. Karen Sabasic for postage, $15.33. Kindle Construction, I have 2, $5,935 and $4,877. Most of that was done on the Tucker Road Bridge, and I have moved that deferred revenue that we had into the general fund since we've pretty much, I think I emailed you this expenditures. Mary Lou McLean for, this will be coming out of the Heritage checking account, $202.11 for the ice cream. National Trust for Historic Preservation dues for the Heritage Commission, $100. New Hampshire Preservation Alliance for the Heritage Commission, this is also dues, $50. New Hampshire Government Finance Officers Association dues, $35, that's for me. New Hampshire Municipal, this was back in, from when they took the moderators workshop, back in January, I believe, $55. Yeah, $55. The final bill for Plodzack and Sanderson for our audit, $3,150. Quarter office machines, this was for overages, $99.01. Royal Turf and Tick, $125 for the cemetery. Fingerprints for Chris, no, I'm sorry, this is driving record for Chris, $15. Stratford Regional Planning, I guess Leah just gave me an email from them. I had a check made out for $85 for the planning and use book, and the email says we don't have to pay that.
Correct.
Okay, so we'll be voiding that. Can write void on that.
Because we paid our dues, we don't have to pay that.
Okay. Water Industries, and this was for 40 culvert pipes?
40 feet.
Oh, 40 feet, because we saw 40. 24-inch culvert pipes?
Yep.
$1,857.20. Screen repairs for my screen on my window, we're reimbursing Rich $5.92. And that's what I have on that manifest. I have another manifest.
Total for this manifest? $259,691.34. I'll make a motion, we accept the manifest as presented.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Aye.
Okay, we're going to reimburse Craig Evans for $68.99 for a transcription of the 1995 oral history. Right? Everybody know what that is?
Carolyn Chase did that.
Yep. Yeah. Then we're going to reimburse Craig $118.82 for archival folders. And then we have another bill from Chris Kendall for $6,687.38. And that, some of that includes the sides,
Yep, shoulder gravel also includes some road signs and some new highway construction type signs.
State of New Hampshire for vital records, $164. And for Chris's fingerprints, it's $25 to the state.
Total on the second manifest, $7,064.19. I'll make a motion, we accept the manifest as presented.
Minus 85.
Oops, I'm sorry, you're right, that's correct.
It was on the other one, wasn't it, the 85?
Yeah, it was on the other one.
Yeah.
Was it on that one?
Yep.
Yep.
So we'll deduct $85.
Sorry, so good one math on that.
They have to use extra.
So I make a motion, we accept the manifest as presented, $7,064.19.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So the correct amount would be $259,606.34.
So I'll make that a motion that the corrected amount on the first manifest is $259,606.34.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So, one more item. What are we gonna do with this cut? We gonna do a cut?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I think we should approve that.
Yeah.
I have a question about that. I know we want to do this to improve the road,
Yes.
but then we want to gate the road. So what's the point of improving the road?
Good question.
Thank you.
We do maintenance, we have someone that does maintenance on that field back yonder.
Yes.
Can't get in and out with the equipment due to the condition of the road. Bruises equipment, we don't want him to walk away from us.
Would it be cheaper if he fixed the part of the road that's messed up for him to get in and?
It's exactly what they're doing with the timber stuff. That's the same section of road. He would have to do that whole thing out of his own pocket. And talked to him and he has said he's not gonna do, he'll walk away from it
Okay.
before he make that extended.
Yeah, anybody can fix the road, but the town can't,
Right.
or any town function.
And the fire warden thanks you very much for fixing it too.
So, Craig, you have a question?
No.
So that's going to be the issue we're going to decide. I'll talk to the lawyer again about it, but I understood what she said. The RSA does not say vehicular traffic. You have to allow people to use the road, but nowhere does it say drive the road. And I'll get another clarification, because we were dealing with this on that part of town.
Yeah.
What if there was a fire and you need fire trucks to be able to get in there?
Well, they would do the same thing they do up here. I don't know what it is, but they do the same thing they do up here.
Unlock the gate.
Unlock the gate?
There's gates all over here.
Yeah.
So if we have to give them their lock, we'll work it out. But that's the question that we have to decide as selectmen. What's the policy?
The other option, obviously, is to discontinue the road. And I would say that in order to do that, you have to do it at a town meeting.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
And,
What's the advantage of that?
well, no, there isn't any. That's why it never gets done, or very rarely. But I just, if you're dead set on not allowing anyone in there, I think that's the appropriate way of doing it.
Well, the issue to me is, how do we get equipment to that backfield? If they want to come in from the other end, which is pretty good, so be it. I mean, you can drive almost all the way to the field from the other end, on that part from Comeau Hill.
But if you're not going to gate both ends, there's no point in gating either.
All depends if the goal is to protect that part of the road that they use to do the hay.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If you gate the Lyford Road end and you don't gate the other end, people are still going to drive through, and they're still going to drive all the way to the gate.
And that's right. I guess I agree with that.
And I'm gonna try and pull the gate out because they get ugly.
Well, they're going to do that anyway.
I mean, my concern is, this is the shot for 20 years. We're not going to log that again. And that was the big issue on having this work done, is to try to improve that, because Alan, he's going to get to a point where he's not going to do it.
Why doesn't he go in Cottle Hill if he could?
Just
Is
walk
it because of the
Long way
boulders?
around.
It's too
Not from Colorado, you're talking about from,
I don't, whatever Chris just said, I don't
yeah,
know.
the Royals won't let us through Colorado.
No, we're talking, the other end.
Yeah, he's talking way down the other end.
Oh, okay.
That's in the Wolfboro end.
Right.
You also have another landowner there that may have objection to
Yes.
it, so.
Yes, we would talk to Nancy.
Objection to gating you're talking about?
Yeah. I would also say maybe in terms of this cut, we talked about it when we walked it. Someone's talking to Nancy about when the road is fixed up a little bit so they can travel on it, the water is going to wind up not going down the road, it's going to be going across the road because of the slope of the land onto her property. It's the normal flow downhill of water. And I would, as a courtesy, maybe just talk to her about it, or have somebody from conservation contact her, just.
Good point, give her a heads up.
Yeah.
Okay, so how are we gonna read these contracts before we sign? With the intent to cut, we can sign the intent to cut.
Right.
And they're not taking much, have you seen this? You've seen this, haven't you?
I haven't seen the intent yet.
They're taking 10,
Oh, nice.
is that the intent to cut?
I think it's exactly, I looked at it the other day, actually I looked at it right now. I think that's what the contract is.
Chris, are you looking at the intent to cut?
No.
No. They're taking hardly any oak, it's all biomass, 700 tons of biomass.
Some pine, some white pine on there?
35. you'll see, 15 Hemlock, the big thing is the oak, isn't it, the expensive one? They're not taking much.
Yeah.
So we're gonna sign this, you'll see it, we'll put it in your box. I'll be glad to come in when you go to process it, if you need any,
Okay.
to work through the, we can send a copy to the state and mail them a copy. And we have to deal with some that are delinquent. What's it for?
It's paving, that's the paving.
Oh, it's been done?
Yeah. The paving is complete, am I
Yes.
right?
It'll go to the next minute,
Yes. They can probably wait till the
Right.
next, yeah.
just initial, right?
So I just received the bill for the paving, which is $153,791, and Chris said that's right in line with their contract. Which we budgeted 200, no,
150,
150, okay.
or below.
Now, as far as reviewing the contracts, is it possible that you have Leah scan them in and send them to us electronically and look at them individually?
I can do that.
If you like.
And then if we have to call a special meeting to approve and do it, or if we can wait until 2 weeks, we can wait 2 weeks.
Did you guys make motions on the intent to cut?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
I'll make a motion. I'll second the intent to cut on the town property.
But, Matt, 19.
Lot 10.
It's about $870 more than estimated.
Did they do Pleasant Valley?
No,
They didn't do it this year.
they didn't do it, and they did, and the town of Brookfield did pave all the way to the town line. We didn't overlay it yet.
And it needs to sign.
Okay, so you're gonna do these contracts, and we'll have to get these signed and out to them. A lot of stuff here.
Yeah.
It's,
Are you looking at it?
yeah, it's,
And he has a check in here already.
yeah,
Yes.
That was for the wetlands permit, wasn't it?
yeah.
And we have a bond in here, get the bond check.
And the bond check.
Oh, it's all set.
Okay. I'll put that in the timber monitor box.
I think it's fine.
Okay, what else do you want us to sign?
You have to sign all three of them, and,
So I'm not scanning it.
well,
Okay. You,
yeah, I think it's fine.
to sign 3 of these,
Yep.
8-6. One. Need to sign it? No.
These are all the same?
Yep.
Getting hot in here.
Too much hot air for the
Cooling station.
Where's your pin, Chris?
What?
Look at your pin.
The Patent is Stone Road, the remainder of County Road, and that little stub at Tibbetts Hill. The idea is so that we can chip seal it next year, hopefully, and they can just do it once. Just wipe it up. We'll see.
Several year.
It was just an overlay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Should last a year or two, like
Yeah.
you can't chip seal next year.
Yeah, yeah. No, it should be fine for a few years. The problem was the base binder coming apart because it never got sealed, you know, so. I wanted to just chip seal over it, but it's too far gone already.
That's all Robert's Road.
The art copy.
All right.
It happens to be done, but it's going to have a change of
All right, that's
direction.
our copy.
Decided to maintain the stuff that's in decent shape
Yeah,
rather than
yeah.
chase after problems. So if it goes a couple more years, it's got to be ground and redone. I don't know if that's the right way to do it. It just seems like it made more sense. Is there a thing somewhere already decent?
Well, that's the way you and suggest them.
And that's his
Maintain
contract.
what's good. And catch up on what's bad. Because otherwise, you're just continually throwing money away.
This is our,
Yeah, you're
Copy of what was at the deer.
yeah. And then his copy.
And no dirt roads are not cheaper than
Sign on the
that.
right side.
Yeah.
I can't take it.
That balloon from
Everybody leaving?
Yeah.
It's,
You're not being entertaining enough, I guess.
it's,
No, you're not doing the mix, the spray on anymore?
to fill those tanks, $8,000.
Yeah.
And I asked, and the decision was to wait another year.
So,
I have done it the past year.
you're not a notary, right?
Diluted.
So it's gonna be-
Stuff that you saw.
Yeah, that's ours copy.
And Karen's not around until,
For about 10,000.
Some o'clock here.
Monday.
unless you stop saying.
There's not much left.
We have all of them signed?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
For the past 2
That
years,
one's good.
it was wet.
He's reading one.
This year started out really dry, so we went out. You got every time you regrade the road, you gotta do it again. Now we do the regrade, like the road.
You do well with your tractor and scraper walks. I'm impressed.
I think it does okay. I mean, for the difference in the amount of effort you have to put in, I think it's worth it. It still means Langford Road should have a bunch of gravel grading in it. But you can get it back in shape.
Does your ex-neighbor still have his grader?
No, but my new neighbor has one.
Thank you for doing this. I think it's worked well.
Yeah,
Little package of all the stuff we
Yeah,
have
the clutches.
in one place.
I will try and keep that up. No promises.
I understand.
I'm not young enough for that.
It's not gonna help people just throwing stuff at you last minute, though.
No.
No, I think Langford is the only road that can really grade properly, and the rest of them can narrow.
We
I know what checkbook, did you see? the
used to use Jeff
check?
Moore.
Check?
Yeah.
$1,000?
He did a pretty good job on it. Well, he did a very good job.
Yeah, I see.
Maybe, probably not this year, maybe next year, we'll grab a lot of that.
You have to sign, no, I screwed up. I have to sign over here. So just sign there, don't sign here. Sign
I know
over
there
there.
are people who don't want it.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I know, witness,
Yeah,
yeah.
fast.
Screwed up.
They already go 50 miles an hour. That's not good.
Maybe you should be graded in
No,
all.
we need 3 of them.
That's one way to do it, don't bring it, they'll go around.
Eventually.
In here.
What is that? Up there?
I don't, I just.
I don't know what happened to it. Maybe it's gonna give it to us when we get the paperwork back. So we're gonna give this all back to Lee. Some has to be witnessed. Oh, witness doesn't mean notarized.
Oh, yeah, no, it's just.
So you can witness
I
it.
saw you sign stuff.
Yeah, there you go. So that goes over there.
That's what I said, like.
So you don't even know.
Hey, you just-
That'd be fine.
Sign it.
And then
Just find them.
make sure we both, we signed it all, would you? And then give him a call. Give his number?
No.
Do I have his number?
It's probably on one of these
Tim
somewhere.
Nolan?
Yeah.
I got Tim's number.
Okay, if you don't have it, Ed has it.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? Okay, meeting's adjourned.
7:28.
You ready? 35.